Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us and welcome to today's ceremony. On behalf of the Chief of Space Operations, General J. Raymond, I extend a warm welcome to everyone watching today's momentous and historic event. During this ceremony, you will see the activations of Peterson-Schriever Garrison and Buckley Garrison, along with the inactivations of the 21st, 50th, and 460th Space Wings, as well as the activations of Star Delta Provisional and Space Deltas 2 through 9. We'll explain a bit about each unit as they activate. I am Colonel Susie Streeter, and I will guide us through today's event. Due to the heightened health precautions as a result of COVID-19, today's ceremony will be a one-of-a-kind event as we conduct today's ceremony virtually and en masse. We thank you for your support and for watching history in the making. It is now my great honor to introduce the first Chief of Space Operations, General J. Raymond, and the first U.S. Space Force Senior Enlisted Advisor, Chief Master Sergeant Roger Toberman.
On behalf of Chief Master Sergeant Roger Toberman and me, it's an honor to be part of this historic ceremony. Today, we take action, an important and significant step towards the development of a 21st century service, purpose-built to achieve speed, agility, and unity of effort. Over the last 4 years, the space community has seen significant transformation, reforming how we organize, train, and equip our forces to operate in an increasingly contested domain. You should be proud of your efforts. We certainly are. This ceremony highlights the most significant restructure of space units since the establishment of Air Force Space Command back in September of 1982. But this is not the finish line. As Simon Sinek would say, we are playing an infinite game. We are in a great power competition, and we must always protect and defend our nation, our allies, and our American interests in space. Our strategic competitors have the means to attack space operations wherever they occur, on Earth, on orbit, in the electromagnetic spectrum, and in cyberspace. These overlapping battle spaces result in increasingly complex, congested, competitive, and contested space operations across the conflict of continuum from gray zones to major combat operations. This new structure puts us on the right trajectory to ensure we address these threats and meet the objectives in our national defense strategy and space strategy. Sustaining that trajectory, however, demands bold, innovative, and forward-looking space professionals at every echelon to get the most combat capability out of today's systems, while deliberately engineering future architectures to outpace the threat. I am confident that when we look back on this event 30 years from now, we'll be in awe at our accomplishments made to protect and defend space. Chief?
Team, what I love most about this organizational structure is that it's purpose-built to unleash the potential of our most important weapon systems, the weapon systems that live and breathe, that are made of flesh and blood, you. I've said it multiple times, and it's worth repeating. We do not need to build a unique culture for our space professionals. What our service needs in the future is ubiquitous in young Americans today. Our Space Force will be fast and agile, not because we instill that culture from the top down, but because today we are reducing barriers to change. We're moving forward, and we are encouraging and embracing the ideas of our men and women in uniform to build a modern and digital Space Force. To our newest Delta commanders and senior enlisted leaders, you have the unique opportunity to inspire and lead space professionals into a new era ripe with opportunity. On behalf of General Raymond and me, congratulations to each of you. We look forward to your continued success. Lead well.
Thank you, General Raymond and Chief Master Sergeant Toberman. The future United States Space Force will have an organizational structure that will include field commands, garrisons, and mission deltas. A field command's closest comparison would be similar to Army divisions or an Air Force Major Command. Garrisons will be similar to Army garrisons or Air Force Air Base wings. The garrisons will act as power projection platforms that are integral to using existing Air Force resources for installation support. Although it appears as a one-for-one transfer between organizations, there are much greater transformational changes within the Space Force structure. Let us begin with the Peterson-Schriever garrison activation and inactivation ceremony of the 50th and 21st Space Wings. This activation symbolizes the newly established garrison in the United States Space Force, beginning its history and lineage. By order of the Secretary of the Air Force, Peterson-Schriever Garrison is hereby activated. Colonel James Smith will relinquish command and inactivate the 50th Space Wing while Command Chief Master Sergeant Boston Alexander furls the flag.
I relinquish command and inactivate the 50th Space Wing.
Colonel Sam Johnson will relinquish command and inactivate the 21st Space Wing while Command Chief Master Sergeant Jacob Simmons furls the flag.
I relinquish command and inactivate the 21st Space Wing.
Colonel James Smith will assume command as the first ever Peterson-Schriever Garrison Commander. Headquartered at Peterson, this garrison will serve as a host organization for Schriever, Peterson, and Cheyenne Mountain bases in Colorado Springs, Thule Air Base in Greenland, Kaena Point Station in Hawaii, and New Boston Station in New Hampshire. Additionally, this garrison will support 16 additional United States Space Force mission locations around the world.
I assume command.
We will now commence with the Buckley Garrison activation and the inactivation ceremony of the 460th Space Wing. This activation symbolizes the second garrison in the United States Space Force, beginning its history and lineage. By the order of the Secretary of the Air Force, Buckley Garrison is hereby activated. Colonel Devin Pepper will relinquish command and inactivate the 460th Space Wing while Command Chief Master Sergeant Robert Duvall furls the flag.
I relinquish command and inactivate the 460th Space Wing.
Colonel Devin Pepper will assume command as the first ever Buckley Garrison Commander. Headquartered at Buckley, this garrison will serve as a host organization for Buckley Air Force Base in Colorado, Cape Cod Station in Massachusetts, Cavalier Station in North Dakota, and Clear Station in Alaska. Additionally, this garrison will support 10 additional United States Space Force mission locations around the world.
I assume command.
A number of units are projected to transfer from the United States Air Force to United States Space Force. Let's take a moment to hear from the Air Force commanders.
I want to thank the members of the 705th Combat Training Squadron and Detachment 1 of the United States Air Force Warfare Center for all that they've accomplished during their time here in Air Combat Command.
The 533rd Training Squadron at Vandenberg Air Force Base has been the gateway for airmen entering the space field since 1993. And since that time, the men and women there have transformed space warfighting training.
And the National Security Space Institute at Peterson Air Force Base, Colorado, classroom instructors serve in the role of developing and inspiring visionary space leaders through space continuing education.
I'd like to congratulate the men and women of Affotech Detachment 4 for the amazing work they have done over the last 36 years as the operational test and evaluation arm of the United States Space Command and the United States Strategic Command. The work they have done to accelerate acquisitions in a way that brings capability to the warfighter faster has been amazing and has led Affotech in this journey to more adaptively do operational test and evaluation.
We just want to say thank you.
We wish you the best as you make your mark in history.
So I look forward to transferring an amazing organization to the United States Space Force and watching Affotech Detachment 4 continue to create history in the future.
We wish you well in your future endeavors with the United States Space Force.
Next, we will see the assumptions of command of the Space Deltas and the furling of the Legacy Guidons. Mission Deltas, such as the Star Delta Provisional, will resemble Army brigades or Air Force combat wings and will enable laser focus on specific mission sets that will pull together unique concentrations of Space Force developmental and cultural activities, providing broader capabilities to the garrisons. By order of the Secretary of the Air Force, Star Delta Provisional and Space Deltas 2 through 9 are hereby activated. Colonel Peter Flores will assume command of Star Delta Provisional, while Chief Master Sergeant Tina Timmerman proudly represents the enlisted corps. Star Delta provisionally headquartered at Peterson Air Force Base, will initially focus on education, training, test, and evaluation. Colonel Matthew Cantore will assume command of Space Delta II, while Chief Master Sergeant Susan Sparks furls the 21st Operations Group Guidon. Space Delta II, headquartered at Peterson Air Force Base, will focus on space domain awareness. Colonel John Thien will assume command of Space Delta III, while Chief Master Sergeant Kevin Laliberté furls the 721st Operations Group Guidon. Space Delta III, headquartered at Peterson Air Force Base, will focus on electronic warfare. Colonel Richard Boroquin will assume command of Space Delta IV, while Chief Master Sergeant Willie Frazier furls the 460th Operations Group Guidon. Space Delta IV, headquartered at Buckley Air Force Base, will focus on missile warning. Colonel Monique DeLauder will assume command of Space Delta V, while Chief Master Sergeant Trevion Everson furls the 614th Air Operations Center Guidon. Space Delta V, headquartered at Vandenberg Air Force Base, California, will be focused on command and control. Colonel Roy Rockwell will assume command of Space Delta VI, while Chief Master Sergeant Michael Dyer furls the 50th Network Operations Group Guidon. Space Delta VI, headquartered at Schriever Air Force Base, will be focused on Air Force Satellite Control Network operations and defensive cyber operations for space. Colonel Chandler Atwood will assume command of Space Delta VII, while Chief Master Sergeant Thomas Drake proudly represents the enlisted corps. Space Delta VII, headquartered at Peterson Air Force Base, will focus on intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Colonel Matthew Holston will assume command of Space Delta VIII, while Chief Master Sergeant Stephen Whitworth furls the 50th Operations Group Guidon. Space Delta VIII, headquartered at Schriever Air Force Base, will be focused on satellite communication operations and navigation warfare. Colonel Casey Beard will assume command of Space Delta IX, while Senior Master Sergeant Frederick Yaney represents the importance of the enlisted corps. Space Delta IX, headquartered at Schriever Air Force Base, will be focused on orbital warfare. Let's watch history as the senior enlisted leaders display and furl the legacy guidons for the last time. And now, the new Delta commanders will assume command.
I assume command of Star Delta Provisional.
I assume command of Space Delta II.
I assume command of Space Delta III.
I assume command of Space Delta IV.
I assume command of Space Delta V.
I assume command of Space Delta VI.
I assume command of Space Delta VII.
I assume command of Space Delta 8.
I assume command of Space Delta 9.
Congratulations to our newest Delta commanders and senior enlisted leaders. Your charge is simple: to lead, to inspire, and prepare our space forces to win in an era of contested space operations. The Joint Force is counting on you to be bold and agile in the face of threats and to deliver war-winning capabilities to our forces, our allies, and our partners operating around the globe. Because of you, we will build a comprehensive military advantage in space. Your efforts will integrate space power into national, joint, and combined operations while shaping the strategic environment. You have the full confidence and trust of Chief Toberman and me. Congratulations. We know you will guarantee the Space Force is always above the next challenge.
Thank you, General Raymond, for your inspirational words, and thanks to all of you for watching this historic event. To learn more about the United States Space Force, please visit our website at www.spaceforce.mil. Have a great Space Force Day.